Welcome back to the homestead, guys. Today we are processing through 100 salmon. We just got back from a subsistence dip netting trip on the Copper River and we have a lot of work to do, so let's get started. We like to save the bellies, we smoke them, and we just fillet these at the river to make space in our cooler. Beautiful fish. Feel so lucky to be able to do it. But we're gonna go through these and then do a little smoking of them, can them up.
Break the little clip on this thing.
First. Absolutely gorgeous king salmon fillets. We don't get too fancy with our filleting, so as long as all the meat's off the salmon, we're not really concerned about how perfect these fillets are, how beautiful they are. They're gonna feed us just the same and be just as delicious. This is a gorgeous salmon. So subsistence is a little bit different than personal use fishing. So with subsistence, you are subsisting off this as your main food source. It's not recreational for us, and as such, we're allowed more fish, more moose, more game than your regular hunting permit, and you can only be applicable for those subsistence permits if you live in certain rural areas of Alaska, like where we do. So we are really happy and feel really blessed to be able to do this and put this meat in the freezer for our family. It's really important to us, and we try our best to use absolutely everything out of this fish because we really value the ability to do this and to put this away.
Look at the fat content.
It's so good.
You can see it right in the meat. It looks great. Beautiful.
Awesome. We saved all the roe. The roe is delicious and it's a superfood. It's great for you. I think I'm gonna take a little bit of this, eat it for dinner with our dinner tonight, and then vacuum seal up the rest. You really kind of like to use this fresh because they don't freeze well. So we will use this up very soon. We're gonna start in on these whole fish. Some of them we filleted when we were at the river. Some we left whole. So these are next up.
And we're good to go.
We're good to go.
get fish guts too.
All right, it is day 2. We are going to start getting through these fillets that are in the gallon Ziploc baggies that we did down at the creek, and we're gonna brine them in a super simple salt brine. You can do lots of different things with your brine. I just like salt. We don't eat a lot of sugar, so we don't like to douse them in sugar before we smoke them. So we're gonna brine these for about 40 minutes, pop them in the smoker, and then get started on all the rest of these fish. We got quite a bit to get through. When those come out of the smoker, we are gonna go ahead and can them up. So we're gonna get started on this. We have a lot of fish to go through and another trip to make. Okay, I do about a cup of salt to 7 cups water, and these are gonna go in for about 40 minutes. Okay, we're just gonna kind of clean these up. We very roughly filleted them at the creek. I'm gonna go ahead and save the bellies, and we are going to smoke those separately. So this belly I'm gonna put in its own bag. We have plenty of cans. All right, we are gonna let those brine for about 45 minutes to an hour, hour and a half. Not too long. We do the majority of our smoking in the fall when we're doing these for long-term storage. These salmon will probably last us through the summer and into those fall months. But we are gonna start vacuum sealing the rest of these and then getting through the rest of those whole fish.
Nice warm June day. Woo, it's brisk.
Beautiful salmon. Clean these guys up. We'll can a bit of the next one.
Shouldn't be hard to find some wet wood around here.
All right, I'm gonna start putting these on our rack, and then we're also gonna hang the strips in there too. In June. Welcome to the interior.
Killer hog!
She's behind you. All our meat is sick because of her. She's a good dog.
The meat saver.
Alright, so that is going to go for just a couple hours. We're not smoking it to be ready to eat, just to give it a little bit of flavor before it gets canned. And then we're gonna can it up, and then in the meantime, we're gonna get through the rest of these fish, or try to get through the rest of these fish, and then by the time we're done with that, we should be ready to get canning these.
Make that little room there. With his eggs.
Yeah.
Cut the bellies first. I could have cut the belly first. I probably should have, but a rose sickle. I think that's all we're gonna get off this. What a lot of meat.
Well, 5 days of fishing, 2 days of processing, and we are not done yet, but we are so thankful to have this for our family and be able to do this as a family. It's blessed and we recognize that. So we are going to take these, put them in the freezer, and then get to canning and making dinner. I think we're gonna do some sourdough flatbread, some cream cheese, some dill, capers, and some of that smoked salmon. So I'm gonna take these, put this in the freezer, and then check on our smoker here, get to canning, and make some dinner.
Awesome. Those look great, huh?
Those do. Good try bite. What do you think, Lena?
Oh my cow, is that delicious?
Okay, we are ready to start canning up this salmon. First things first, I put a couple inches of water in my pressure canner. So with low acid foods like this smoked salmon, you need to pressure can it. So that is what I'm going to be using today. And to start that process, I just put 2 to 3 inches of water in the bottom and then get it heated up while I prep my jars here. So I'm going to put some water in here and start packing my jars full of salmon. If you were water bathing, like with jams and jellies and tomato sauce and that sort of thing, you would be covering those jars with water by a couple inches and literally boiling them in there. But with pressure canning, you're just filling this up for a couple inches of water, and then I'm gonna get it heating. And then as far as my jars go, so when you are processing something for more than 10 minutes, you need not sterilize the jars. So I went ahead and washed these with really hot soapy water, got them nice and clean, and then we're gonna fill these to about 1 inch headspace. So that is that first line here. And with smoked fish, you could pack it tight, you could pack it loose, doesn't matter, but you do want to pack it vertically and kind of keep them uniform size. So beautiful and delicious. Okay, these are all nice and packed to 1 inch headspace. I'm gonna go ahead and wipe the rim of all these jars because you wanna make sure you get a good seal and there's no oil or water or anything to interfere with that seal. Then I like to kind of center my lid on here and just finger tight the lids on so you know that it is properly sealed in the canner. So these are gonna go for 1 hour and 50 minutes, and at my elevation, I'm at about 2,000 feet in elevation. I go at 15 pounds pressure. So I'm gonna go ahead, wipe all these rims, get my lids on, and then start loading up the canner. Okay, I'm gonna start loading these into the canner here, and always make sure you put a rack on the bottom of the canner because if you put these jars right on the bottom, they will shatter. Okay, and then I'm just gonna tighten this lid on in a star pattern, just like you would a spare tire. I'm gonna start on one side and then go to the direct opposite side. Now that this lid is nice and tight in here, I'm gonna vent steam out of this little vent pipe for 10 minutes before I put my weighted gauge on there. So I'm gonna go ahead, keep an eye on this. When I see steam coming out, I'll time it for 10 minutes and then I'll know I'm ready to put that weight on, and then wait and see until it gets up to pressure. So when you put that weight on your vent pipe, you're gonna be looking for 2 things. You're gonna want that to jiggle anywhere from 1 to 4 times a minute, and you're gonna want this pressure gauge to read your correct pressure. And once that happens, you know you are ready to start your processing time of 1 hour and 50 minutes. If it deviates out of that 1 to 4 time jiggle or out of your correct pressure on your dial here, you need to reprocess or start the processing time over. But in the meantime, while I wait for this to vent steam, I'm gonna go ahead and actually freezer pack some of these smoked salmon and also cook some for dinner. So I'm gonna take these, put them in some vacuum sealer bags, get them in the freezer with the other fillets, and then start cooking our dinner. Okay, I'm gonna run these beautiful packs of smoked salmon out to the chest freezer, and then we're gonna start cooking our sourdough flatbreads. So the sourdough flatbread we make all the time. We make it when we go camping. We make it at home a lot. It's really easy. You just start with some sourdough discard, which is just an inactive starter. If you've never made a sourdough starter, we have a really simple one on the channel. I just dump like a good cup and a half to even 2 cups, depending on how much you want to make. And then some water, maybe about 2 cups water. And then I just add about a teaspoon of salt to this and then just mix it all up. And then to that, I add about 3 cups of flour. You could either add enough flour to make a dough ball and knead it with your hands and then stretch it out. Or you could do like what I'm gonna do right now, and I'm gonna add just enough flour to make it like a really thick pancake batter and just dump it on the fry pan and fry it up like that. Saves the mess. I like to fry mine in tallow, but you could do butter too. I've never tried olive oil. I like some good tallow for frying. I am going to put my weight on here at 15 pounds pressure. They have little numbers on here so you know which way to put this on. And now I'm just going to wait, listen for the jiggle, and then watch this gauge and see when we're up to pressure. When we get up to pressure, I'm going to start timing for 1 hour and 50